Well, hello and welcome to Creativity with DA3 Live. Right here I got an Oculus Medium, or got an Oculus Rift here, and in front of us, what you're seeing up here is the actual view of a program called Oculus Medium. What we're able to do inside of Oculus Medium is use virtual reality to sculpt characters and objects and anything that you can imagine. So what we're going to do today, you see my reference images in here, is we're going to try to carve a scary pumpkin for the holiday seasons. I got my Halloween costume over there. It's My Hero Academia, very important part of culture, anime. I love it. So maybe I should be wearing, now as I'm thinking about it, probably should be wearing that instead of just casual clothing. But for now, let's get started and let's make a scary pumpkin that we're going to later use for a piece of artwork inside of Cinema 4D. But we're going to make the asset for it right here in the virtual space. So, without further ado, I'm going to throw on the headset and got the handle controllers right there. And let's start carving. Okay, so most important thing when you're carving a pumpkin is to use lots of safety. So in this case, since we're carving in virtual reality here, the safety precautions I put is I move stuff out of the way so that we can just work in a kind of safe space. And it's gonna be all right. So I got the first thing first is I got mirroring turned on. So without mirroring turned on, I can draw stuff, which is cool, but I want to have it kind of be a little bit symmetrical initially, kind of like that pumpkin there. So what we can do is grab the mirroring function and just turn on mirroring. And so now whatever I do to one side does to the other. So I'm just gonna make sure we're on a good layer. This is my layer panel over here. I put it right by my bed so kind of prevents me from walking back there when I want to check out my layers. So we got all these images here. These are all these images from my desktop. And we have a light that we can move around and play with if we want to make it scary. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that light. And let's kind of just grab that, have it kind of lit from underneath. Will look kind of cool. Great. Let's see what else we can affect with the lighting. We can add another light. We can add a transformation. Embed. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. I'm just going to place the light right about here. That'll be good. And let's add a layer. Where is the layer adding button? Add a sculpt layer, add a poly match. Let's do a sculpt layer. Alright, cool. We're on layer 2 now. And now we should be able to safely start carving our pumpkin. So one thing I noticed about pumpkins is they have like this kind of general shape going on. And so I'm just kind of painting these little rings around here, and these are going to be like the core of the pumpkin, not the core, the exterior of the pumpkin. If we look at our pumpkin reference image, we need to dip down a little bit more towards the inside, so I might want to just kind of just place some geometry here. I'm already liking the pumpkin. Let's see how the bottom of it's doing. Maybe we want to just give it a little bit of a bottom here. Now I can hold shift, so in this program, if you hold the trigger, it can actually turn on a smoothing function. And so now I have like a brush that's spraying smoothing geometry. That actually might be a little bit too smooth, so I'm going to hit backspace, which is just left and right arrow keys, which is really cool. So just kind of do something like that. Alright, so I kind of like this. Let's add some more details. So how about a pumpkin stem? Yeah, this thing needs a stem. Actually, I kind of want it to be a little bit rounder on the bottom. So we're on the bottom of this thing here, just adding some material, just a little lumpiness. Now I'm actually going to turn off mirroring because pumpkins aren't perfectly even. I just wanted like the bulk of it to be made evenly, just so that it would be easier to recognize as a pumpkin. But now what we're doing is we're focusing on kind of like the random variation of life, especially of plants. I don't think there's really any plant that comes out exactly looking like another for the most part. Okay, so it's kind of just a lumpy pumpkin. I like it. I might want to kind of change its distortion a little bit. So I can grab, check this out, the move key. And if we expand the influence of our brush here, we can kind of orbit around this thing and really sculpt it. So I'm just going to grab this chunk in here and just kind of bring that in. Maybe kind of push this up in here. Maybe dip that in and down, give it a little twist. I might want to pull a little bit of this part out a little bit more. Just kind of twisting and bending the geometry. Okay. Okay. Cool. Cool. Next I'm going to add another layer, and we're going to add that stem. So let's switch back to a clay brush, and then we're going to go to the layer tool, and we're just going to add another layer. So where is that? Add layer. There it is. Add a sculpt layer. Okay, so we just added that. We're on layer 3 now. So kind of right here, I'm going to make the pumpkin gigantic here. I'm going to make my brush really tiny, because if we look at the way that the stem is, it has kind of like a fanned out shape. It looks like a fanned out shape in the beginning. So let's kind of just make that shape. Now don't worry about the colors. We're going to be doing colors and stuff inside of Cinema 4D. I don't plan on doing texturing in here. For fun, I might make it just orange, but that's not going to be the final color. That's just going to be for me in this program here and for you. Alright, so now we're going to take this. Looks like they have a little bit of a curved stem here for the pumpkin. So we kind of just bring it up. Maybe we'll kind of start a little bit wider. Maybe we'll start a little bit thinner here. Maybe we've got to go. Oops. I'm trying to do this thing where you hold the, if you slide your thumb up and down gently while you're painting, it can make your brush go from a thin line to a thick line, but it's hard to do it very smoothly. Yeah, I can only do it it's a very quick roll off. I guess it could just go in increments here, so maybe we kind of go here, and we'll go about here, and there. It really helps to be able to orbit around your object like this, but still keep working. Then we're going to just grab our smoother brush and just smooth out that geometry. So I'm just holding that shift key, which is this trigger button here, and we can kind of just smooth out the stem of the pumpkin. Okay, now it's looking very lopsided. I'm okay with that, but not totally on board. So what I'm going to do, yeah, I'm not fully feeling this. So what we're going to do is I'm going to grab this layer and just move this stem, make it a little bit bigger here. There it goes. So you're just going to place it softly there. Great, we're going to go back to layer 2, and I'm going to paint back over this pumpkin with a little bit more strokes. Just to kind of, I don't know, make it a little bit plumper or something. Because, you know, once the pumpkin is done, in the most part, what we can focus on is the face, which I want to put a lot of effort and energy into. My pumpkin's looking a little swirly here. Let's see, go right about there. Kind of grabbing this around here. I'm going to take a look at my desktop. You won't be able to see my desktop, I think, from here. Let me see, you got a virtual desktop over here. Okay, it's fine. Oops. Oh, I should go to monitor 2, actually. Okay, just taking a look. Cool. Oop. Alright, just get out of the way. Oop. Okay. So got this kind of white pumpkin here. One thing I'm noticing looking at the pumpkin reference image is that the pumpkins are a little bit more like elongated. So I'm going to grab that move tool and grab the whole bottom half of our pumpkin and just kind of pull it down. And just to make it a little bit longer, taller, or something. There we go. It's feeling a little bit more pumpkin-y. This is what's nice about having a reference image readily available at all times. Okay, Okay. So got a pumpkin shape. I'm gonna go back to layer 3 and replace the stem of this pumpkin here. Okay. Cool. Cool. You know what? Just for fun, I'm just gonna color it just so it's real clear. We're gonna go to our paint brush and we're going to spray on some color. Now I'm not going to use this in the final render, but just for now, this will do. Just kind of spray on the stem of the pumpkin, and then let's grab a nice orange color. I'll just shrink this thing down, make my brush all big. Oh, wrong layer. Yes, you gotta make sure you're on the right layer, so that's on layer 2. There we go. Oh wow, very pumpkin-esque. So it's like a spray paint can. I'm just holding this grip key to move things around, and we're just able to spray this pumpkin. Okay, cool. This works for me. Next thing I'm going to do is we're going to add another layer of like kind of bumpiness. Probably do this in the 3D program, but just so there's some actual bumpy bumps. What we're going to do, actually we probably keep it on this layer, or no, just in case I want to separate it, it's always good to have another layer of area to work on. So for this one, we got our brush selected, and I'm just going to grab the clay brush, and instead of letting it drag onto the pumpkin like this, what we're going to do is we're going to change the brush setting to be a single little dot. Now while we're doing this, oh actually I'm actually going to change the color of it too. We're going to make it the same color as the pumpkin. These are just going to be like little beauty marks for the pumpkin. And so we're just kind of going around, because I'm looking at the pumpkin here, it's got little bumps on the pumpkin. It's got bumps on the pumpkin texture, so we're just going to add some bumps. And what's cool is these are on a separate layer, so we can later colorize these differently. I'm going to make a few that are really small. Yeah, I'm just going to add these little bumps. Great. Alright, now we gotta decide which one's gonna be the face. I kinda like this one as the face. Let's see, what else looks like a good front of the pumpkin? This one's looking the most pumpkin-like. Just gonna add a few more dots up at the top here. Little bumps of texture to this pumpkin. And we'll put some bumpiness on the bottom of the pumpkin as well. Make the brush a little bit bigger. Right now the pumpkin's the size of like a motorcycle. Oh, they shouldn't be all uniformly spaced. I should kind of make them appear a little bit more random. Very bumpy. Okay, cool. Alright, let's make this be the face of the pumpkin. So, got some scary faces in here. Let's take a look inside the pumpkin. Okay, looking good. There's enough space to go in here, but just in case there's not, we're going to jump into the layer that holds our pumpkin. Oops, not the dots. I'm going to leave the dots in place. Layer 2, yeah, holds the pumpkin. So with layer 2 selected, I'm going to double click the gear icon to get our subtraction, and we're going to go inside the pumpkin here, and we're just going to subtract geometry continuously from the inside. So I'm literally carving out the pumpkin. Right now the pumpkin's the size of my room, and I have this giant brush in here, and I can kind of just carve out the core of the pumpkin to give us space to have a light source that we're going to place in here. So I'm just kind of carving it out on the inside, carving the pumpkin. Kind of like make the, you know, like when you carve an actual pumpkin, it kind of has like the ridges from the knife that are going to be kind of vertically aligned. It's like a scraping. So we're just kind of scraping out little chunks of pumpkin from the inside of here. All right, now we're back outside of the pumpkin, taking a look. What do we have here? All right, let's carve out a cool shape. Now, instead of using a circle to carve out the shape, because you know it's going to make everything look like cheese. What I'm going to do instead is switch out the brush to a sharp, jagged shape, like a knife. So let's see, maybe that's under a mechanical. That's kind of knife-like. All right, so let's see. Okay, cool. So now I can cut the pumpkin. So let's turn on symmetry again. Or actually, no, forget about symmetry. We'll turn off symmetry for now. So what we're going to do is just going to carve out a pumpkin, the face. So I'm going to make these really creepy eyes, kind of something like this. Kind of come on down there. Let's kind of just get that all there. Oh, this is fun. All right. And we're just going to go right back on this side and just make another creepy eye for the pumpkin. And we can always get the knife or the scale up the size of the pumpkin for details, you know, so you don't have to suffer from a shaky hand. You can just get in here, carve out the pumpkin eyes the way we need them to be carved. For instance, I might just kind of take out this little chunk here to give a little more expression to the eyebrow of the pumpkin. Okay, I'll probably add a little bump back in there too. Let me just get this one up a little bit higher. Alright, now creepy mouth time. So first off, just going to make a nice little cutout. What's the best way to go about this? Let's see. Yeah, this is looking creepy, all right. Good. All right, I'm gonna go back into the inside of the of it, and I'm smoothing out some of the jaggedness of my cuts. I'm also gonna remove some of the bumps that we made here because, well, maybe it'll look kind of cool if it's like drooling or something. All right, let me go back to a regular shaped circle sphere. And let's just go in and kind of subtract some of the geometry on the inside of the pumpkin. So right now we have like the pumpkin, we're wearing it like a mask right now. You know, I can see out of the mouth of the pumpkin. So I'm just gonna kind of carve out of here to give it a good space for the light source that we'll be putting in here at some point. A better spot to kind of jump out. Okay, that looks good. Let's go back in there and kind of just cutting it out. Okay, let's take a look. Actually, we might be able to place this wherever the light really is. So maybe the light source, I forgot where I placed my light. If I could see it right now, I would place it there. There it is. Oh, actually, you know what we can do? I can probably change the lighting in the room to be all spooky. Probably should have done scary music too, would be nice. Alright. Alright, this doesn't look all that creepy though, so what I'm going to do is go back onto here and we're just going to add some eyeballs. Actually, I'll do these on a separate layer. And for fun, I'll just make them a different color. Yeah, and we'll have the light source kind of right there. This doesn't look that creepy. I want this to be creepier. Maybe what we'll do is grab the clay brush and just kind of use this flat edge here and really just kind of carve into the pumpkin. Oops. Carve into the pumpkin teeth. Where are you? Where's my layer pad? Might need to move it a little bit closer over here now. We're going to go to layer pumpkin. Okay, cool. Alright, so one thing that makes this one look creepier is the jawline kind of goes up a lot higher. And that's creepy for some reason. Not sure why. Actually, let's see if we can get like a flat rectangular shape. Is there any other primitives, symbols, rocks, organic? What about traditional? Oh, here we go. This one like a little wedge shape. It's a good, it's like a scaff. Oh, there we go. Let's use this arrowhead. Yeah, this ought to work. Okay. There we go. Now it's looking a lot creepier. We're going to do the same thing over here. It's just kind of cool. Yeah, it looks extra creepy. Alright, now to make the eyes even creepier, what we're going to do is we're going to jump into an organic brush. So I'm going to collapse the traditionals, go to some organic brushes. Oh, these don't look too organic. I meant maybe something more like rocks. Yeah, let's use some of these rock shapes. What we're going to use these rock shapes for on our pumpkin layer is we're going to use these to kind of add more. Oops, let's make sure we got a different color selected. We're going to use these to kind of add a little bit more detail around the eyes, just to make it a little bit creepier and, I don't know, more realistic. So I'm just adding some bumps. Right here go right around the eye here. It's like a cheekbone now, almost. More like a skull. That's important. The holiday season. Oh wow, that's creepy. Alright, I might smooth out the transition to it, just so it looks like it blends in a little bit better. So I'm just holding shift basically and smoothing out those transitions. Alright, we're going to do the same thing with parts of the jaw. I'm just going to kind of give them like a chin. And then smooth out the transitions. Oh yeah, that's creepy. Okay. Yeah, it's looking good. It's looking nice and creepy. Alright, so let's subtract some of this part out here to get some dedicated teeth going on. Okay, good. Let's kind of carve out of there. Okay. Next thing I want to do is kind of thin out some of the insides, or actually, you know what I think? We need to add a cut on the top of the thing. So I'm going to use this kind of like pointed. Well, it's not pointed. It's more like a, I don't know, column. And I'm just going to carve out a circle on the top of the pumpkin. Oops. We're going to use this to kind of allow light to escape the pumpkin as well. So I'm just going to kind of carve on in there. That might be a little bit too wide. Let's see, maybe let's grab a thinner a thinner tool. Ooh. Yeah, they really do need some knives. Knives in here. Let's grab maybe, these are symbols. How about houseware? Oh, we got a fork. Yes, a knife. A pumpkin knife. This is perfect. Okay, so I'm gonna make the brush a little bit bigger, or a lot bigger, and we're just gonna kind of carve. Oh, I'm holding the knife backwards. Let me flip it around. Okay, so now it's like a little claw here. I'm just gonna carve around the pumpkin. Alright, there we go. I'm going to make the pumpkin super big and just kind of extra carving around here. I want little beams of light to be able to escape the top of the pumpkin here. And so we're just kind of carving right inside of these edges so that light can leak in through these cracks into the next regions of the pumpkin brain. Cool. So it's okay for us to keep it attached in some spots like there, it's fine. But for the most part, I'm going to leave it detached like this. Alright. Cool. Now that we actually have a blade tool, I'm going to go in and kind of make little cut marks. As if, you know, like, we might need to increase the polygons. Alright, what else do we need? Oh! All of these have a nose. Mine doesn't have a nose. Well, that one doesn't. Well, I guess it kind of has a nose in there. Alright, let's see if we can give it a little creepy nose. There we go. Wonderful. Okay. Next thing I'm going to do to spice it up is I kind of like what I got going on with these spheres that are like dripping almost. So I'm going to make a whole layer of that kind of stuff. So what I'm going to do though is find the layer that has those, and I'm going to erase those ones from it with the, I guess we're just going to use this bucket. Don't know what, I'm just going to use this bucket to erase it. And no floaters. Okay, and then we're going to make a new layer. And on this layer, what we're going to do is just add some good old slime. I'm going to use a sphere to make that slime. I'll do a green color, although again, not using these colors. These are just for right now. So if I was a slimy monster, I think I would have some slimy gunk in there, and maybe just a little like this. Yeah. Oh, don't want it in my eyeball though. There we go. Just kind of grab a thin little brush here. Very thin little brush. And we're just going to get some more slime going on. You know, in the 90s, everything was about slime. Look it up. It's the most important thing in the 90s. There's slime. Everything was slime. Marketing, slime, branded slime. Toys were slime based. Alright, so now we're going to make like a little, I don't know, a little slime pool down here. Nope, I take it back. I'm going to leave that slime pool out. What I am going to do is use a really thin brush here and connect some of the slime streams together. There we go. And we'll get a couple in here. It's almost like mucus. Mucusy. You know how creepy it would be if pumpkins slimed when you cut into them? I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want to see that. I'm just saying, you know, these are the things you got to think about. when you're making creepy stuff. They kind of look like teeth. I don't want it to look like teeth. I'm going to get rid of these ones in the front here. Just have some slime in the corners. Yeah. And just in case I change my mind, I'll put some slimy slime maybe oozing out of the brain here. Ooh, creepy. Get some more of that slime. Almost looks like hair. I don't want it to be like hair. I want it to be like sliminess. Cool. Let's see if there's any more spaces for slime. Maybe we can just do a couple little pools kind of in the crevices. Oh, that works. And then you can just do little spills on the face here. Okay, that looks creepy. Looks very creepy. Imagine the light in here, and if the eyes were glowing and the slime has a little glow, we're going to be extra creeped out in a good way. Cool. Alright, next thing I want to work on is some vines. So what we're going to do is we're going to make another layer. Add another fine layer. And this one, we're just going to get the nice little swirly hands. I want these arms to look kind of creepy, but sharp. Even though the vines are normally pretty curvy and curly, I want these ones to kind of have like a sharp, jagged nature to them. Like a gooey ghoul. So we'll just kind of bring these arms up, or maybe just do a rough sketch of what I want the arms to do. So use this size, I want the arm to kind of come up. That's too far. Maybe something here. This, wrist, fingers. And then maybe the other one is kind of like, just kind of curling around, and then like some kind of claw shape up here out of it. Yeah, okay, we'll go off of that. So what we're going to do is kind of follow that along the path. And we're going to use this as our guide to some creepy pumpkin hands. Whee! There we go. So just kind of just add a little bit of mass. Maybe we'll get an extra finger up there, and then it kind of curves down. Extra creepy looking. Maybe I'll curl these back in. Extra joint, an unneeded joint in the wrist there. Cool, that works for me. Let's do the same thing with this hand. This one's going to kind of start off a little wide, and then gets a little bumpy and curly, and then we get to this hand, and the hand's going to be kind of sprawled out. Yeah, just kind of sprawl it out here. Whee! That hand's a lot, too big. I'm going to bring that back. What should that arm be doing? Or maybe it's holding its own, I don't know. I don't know what that hand's doing. Let's erase it. Try that one again. Alright, so we got one hand. I'm happy with this one. What I want to do with this other arm is maybe it's like holding on to its own head. Oops. There we go. Alright, so if it's holding on, see if that's the right width for the base. Yeah, it is. So this arm can kind of start off coming down here, and then it kind of goes back up and is kind of creepily holding on to the tips of his brainstem. Maybe? Yeah, something like that. Alright, let's kind of go back in there. Just gonna have a little bit of it just kind of eating away at it a little bit. Okay, look at that. It's nice and creepy. Great. All right, if we look at the brain stem of these things, actually they do have little curly cues on them though. So I probably want to texture those on a separate layer as well, knowing me. So I'm just going to add a sculpt layer. And this one I'm just going to do these little, we can actually turn up the smoothness of our stroke, called steady stroke. So I'm just going to turn this up. And what this does is it kind of just smooths out your movements. So we can go up in here and just kind of create a little, maybe that's a little too smooth. Make it a little bit larger. That's a little bit too smooth. Let's make it less steady. That's a little bit too, let's go right up there, 35%. So we got the steady stroke turned on. And let's see, where do the pumpkin stems from? Oh, they come from the arm things. So maybe we right around the elbow here, kind of swirl around. I don't know how I'm feeling about these curls. Kind of like this wiry approach of just wrapping it around the very edges. It's looking kind of wiry. Okay. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. That's actually kind of scary. Okay, cool. What else do I need for the pumpkin? We got bumpiness, great. We got scary pumpkin thing. And then I guess the last thing I would do, well, that's probably it. Maybe I'll just add what the potential glowing fire could look like. I was thinking of having some firing glowing from the eyes, inspired by my friend Brian. He was talking about having the eyes do something like this. So let's make another layer. Whoa, what just happened? Alright, I think I just moved I moved something important. Okay, maybe it's okay. What I was thinking of doing was this fiery look from the eyes, so it kind of would shoot out. Actually, I'll probably just do that in Photoshop. Yeah, it's gonna mess up my geometry. I'm not gonna do it there. Okay, I guess let's just make a candle in the jaw somewhere. So let's just make a, I'll make the candle blue, I guess. Oh, I'm gonna turn off steady stroke. We don't need that on anymore. That does not look like a candle, but this does. cool. I'll put my light source right there. That'll make some nice cool reflections. The light will shoot right through here, so we'll get some good beams that come right out of there. We'll get some good beams coming out of the eyes and a few through the cracks. Might want to put a few more holes in the pumpkin's side of the head here, so that light kind of shoots out from the side. So to do that, I'm just gonna grab a fork. Yeah, a good old fork, and we're just gonna fork out some holes. Oh, make sure we're on the right layer. There we go. Actually, the fork's adding too many planes. Let's just use the knife tool and just cut some pumpkins. There we go. Just some more spaces for light to shoot out of. If it's a problem, I'll just plug them up and send them a 4D. But I think it might look kind of cool. Let's do some cuts in here. Just sharpening some of these teeth here. I'm trying to keep them aimed at the light as much as I can. I think it's hilarious that we're carving this pumpkin with an actual virtual knife. I mean, it's very fitting. It's just, I'm happy that this is an available tool here. Just making the teeth a little bit thinner here, which makes most of the face a little bit more shallow, which is fine. Just playing around with some color, or some shape, I mean. I'm just getting some little bit more work on this teeth here. I'm going to carve my name on the inside of the pumpkin so that no one steals it. Cool. Looks like the bottom lost a lot of texture. I might just carve some lines in here. Just smoothing out some of these edges here. All right, this works for me. Cool. I gotta put this over a cornfield in Cinema 4D. All right, that's all we have time for now. So thank you for watching. Oh, maybe I should just export this. So the last thing I would do when I'm done with an object here is I can go to save somewhere. Where is it? Oh, where's the menu? Uh-oh. Well, there's definitely a way to save this. Huh. I wish that was a little bit more intuitive. I'm blanking out on how to save. I want to save. Help. Alright, well, it's been going well so far, but I don't remember how to save. Oh, no, that's not it. Come on. Oh, look at that. There's a little yellow button here. Okay. File. Let's just save this real quick. Untitled. No, I want to give it a name. Let's save. Call this pumpkin. P-U-M-P-U-M-P-K-I-N. Pumpkin. And this will save it to personal folders. Cool. Now I'll save that. Alright, so now they're saved. Great. And now I'm just going to export this. Alright, we'll export that same quality vertex color textures. We'll do object. I'll just do vertex color. And then let's export this. I'll save this one to exports. No, or PC. Desktop. Cool. Export. I don't know if it's done or not. Cool. That's all. So now with that file, I'll be able to open up that into Cinema 4D, and we'll be able to use that for animations and for other art. Wish I could wear this. Just hit myself in the face. Well, that was worth it. Thank you so much for watching Creativity with DA3 Live. Whew. As always, have a creative and productive day. Hopefully you learned a thing or two about some of the silliness inside of Oculus Medium. That's all I got tonight, so thanks for watching. Bye-bye!